Americans are not winning their battle against obesity.
$50 billion a year treating obesity-related illnesses. So we know this is a problem and there's a lot at stake.
McDonald's, a company founded by two brothers whose business model was focused entirely on quick service and quality, ended up becoming a cancerous company that would poison the American population and later the world. It is no longer a leader in quick service and quality, but a leader in greed and obesity. While the rest of the world seems to be in disparity during a recession, the company is thriving due to their low prices. It takes shortcuts with food and adds harmful chemicals to ensure the biggest profits. Ronald McDonald may have a big smile, play with children, but even he is just one of the many damaging aspects that make up McDonald's. So how is it possible we are so addicted to this fast food chain and still not aware of the damages caused? Shouldn't this company be held accountable and take more social responsibility? Of course, we could already give you the answer, but first, let's go back to the very beginning of the story. Well, the company was founded in 1948 by the brothers Richard and Maurice McDonald, after remodeling their drive-through barbecue restaurant into a burger and milkshake joint. They decided to focus more on speed and low prices by reducing the menu down to a mere 9 items, including the famous 15-cent hamburger. This was a huge success. The fast food concept made them leaders in the food industry, which eventually drew the attention of a milkshake mixer salesman by the name of Ray Kroc. The brothers first got into business with Ray by buying some of his milkshake mixers and then hired him as their franchising agent so they could further expand the business. Everything seemed to be looking great, but then it turns out they do not have the same vision, causing issues early on. Whereas Ray was more focused on making money by rapidly expanding the business, the McDonald brothers were more concerned with the quality of their product and the customer experience. Ray continued to explore ways to escape their agreement and continued to establish new locations to run the company, even if this meant the brothers had no stake in this. Eventually, they decided that Ray may purchase the business in exchange for the brothers keeping the original store, receiving $2.7 million in cash and 1% of sales going forward. Not a bad deal at all, you think. However, Ray informed the brothers that the last-minute talks with some new investors prevented him from documenting the 1% royalty. Nonetheless, he had made this promise to them verbally. But how did this all really turn out? After the deal was sealed, Ray outpaced the brothers in a flash, opened a new business across the street, forcing the brothers to close, and they never received the 1% in royalty. These events set the tone for the future of the company and its work ethic, consistently prioritizing money first and people last. So why did McDonald's become so big? Has it used any traditional marketing strategies? Well, no. The company does not just target adults, it targets children. As you can imagine, we all have some memory of Ronald McDonald from our childhood, seeing him on a poster, a video game, or maybe even at the hospital. And if we look at the expansion that this business is having today, we can see that 90% of McDonald's locations are within walking distance from schools and have a huge playground to keep you entertained. This isn't a coincidence at all, and all part of McDonald's marketing strategy to attract vulnerable children to their restaurants. Childhood is one of the most important times in a person's life. It is when we are the most open to influence, so of course it would make sense for McDonald's to capitalize on this impressionability, so people become addicted to the overall McDonald's experience in life early on. Take your kids from school, let them play, and end the day with some cheap, easy food. But in 1979, they took it to another level by launching the Happy Meal, a meal that would include a free toy. Children, of course, will be thrilled by having this meal, which comes with a toy that looks like their favourite cartoon or superhero. But was it socially responsible? Well, since then it has come to light that a Happy Meal contains a lot of oil, salt and fat, so they will cause changes in hormones in the children's body. But while children would fight over who got the best toy, the company's weekly revenue tripled. So why should they care about health? McDonald's has been held accountable multiple times by violating marketing advertisements, but seems to not be bothered a lot as they continue to indoctrinate children into the McDonald's family. In 2010, they went so far that they had to formally retire their artificial character, Ronald McDonald, as the Corporate Accountability International in Boston stated his character and advertisement was causing childhood obesity. However, despite this, in April 2014, Ronald McDonald was brought back out of retirement and was essentially just given a fresh coat of paint. But he was still the same old Ronald McDonald, which is being featured in commercials and even has his own official Instagram account. So nothing had changed at all, really. Of course, now you could say that people should be aware of what they eat and what they give their children. But remember that some people just do not know any better because they are not well informed from a young age or can basically not afford the expensive alternatives. Therefore, the company is causing one of the worst problems in the United States and the rest of the world. Usually, every major company has some dark or shady past. But there is more to this story as McDonald's is slowly poisoning the population and profiting off of poverty. Right now, we are in a recession, a time when people are having more financial difficulties, making things such as healthy food more expensive and harder to access. This means people will look at the cheaper options, and junk food is cheap. But do you recall that feeling that after a McDonald's you feel sad and empty? This is because fast food not only contributes to weight gain, high blood pressure or heart diseases, it also increases the rate of depression due to the fact that you are not fueling your body with the right nutrients. According to a study, people who eat fast food and sweets regularly are 51% more likely to develop depression than those who don't. And in addition to that, the researchers found that as depression levels increased, so did the amount of junk food eaten. So you basically end up in a vicious circle. This is no surprise, as obesity has had a major increase in the last decade in the United States, with McDonald's becoming the #1 fast food chain. Now, while there could be other fast food chains to blame, it should be pointed out that in 2021 alone, McDonald's generated $8.71 billion of revenue from the United States, whereas its biggest competitor for restaurant chains in the region only generated $5.8 billion. This alone shows the huge impact that McDonald's has on the rate of obesity, with the rate currently standing at a shocking 42.4%, which increased from 26% in 2008. Nowadays, 70 million Americans are obese. But how does that compare to the rest of the world? Well, the rate of obesity internationally is 13%, with the lowest rate of obesity being in Vietnam, where McDonald's only has 17 stores in the entire country. This could be seen as a message, or maybe just as a coincidence. So knowing all this, McDonald's should probably change their current way of doing business by providing people healthier options or making them more aware. Don't you think that big corporations should carry these responsibilities? Well, it looks like they don't, as they sugarcoat their practices even more than we already think. So what is in McDonald's that makes it so bad? What do they use? And what do they put in the food that makes it so unhealthy to eat? Now, while there have been many articles that have come out trying to prove the innocence of McDonald's and that they do not put any preservatives or harmful chemicals in their food that make it unhealthy, this is completely untrue. The company may portray its product as nutritious, but it's actually only high in fat, sugar and salt, does not contain any fibre nor vitamins. Nutritionists associate their food with an increased risk of diabetes, cancer, heart disease and other disorders. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop there, as the food contains a variety of chemical additives, like PFAS, BHT and many more that we could possibly tell you about. Ever wondered why McDonald's, even after being left out or left in the fridge, looks the same after months and does not change? That's because of a chemical called BHT. It is not a naturally occurring chemical and can only be made in a lab, which is used to preserve the freshness of food, but was also found to have major links to causing cancer. Another huge part of why McDonald's is so unhealthy has not just to do with what is in their food, but also with how it is packaged. The food is packaged using something called PFAs. These chemicals are negatively related to the growth, behaviour and learning of younger children. We know that these substances migrate into the food you eat, says Justin Boucher, an environmental engineer at the Food Packaging Forum. It's clear, direct exposure. So while McDonald's may try to convince you through collaborations with news stations and social media, they are really far from innocent. So why should McDonald's be held responsible? Well, basically, just because it's bad for people's health. They market their food in the young brain of children without any warnings about long-term damage. Because of the chemicals, their food can be made so cheap, increasing the overall rate of obesity. All these things are not being brought to light, and companies continue to market their products without any restriction. So let us know your thoughts about this story in the comments below, and let us know what kind of other topics you'd like us to address. We hope you learned a thing or two from this video, and if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe for the absolute best stories, and don't forget to switch on post notifications to keep up with the latest videos.